So I guess so. He was the stadium manager from 74 to 80. I didn't know that.
There's much that Colin Yonihara still doesn't know about his uncle, but he seems to learn more every day. And how could he not? The family's home is a museum of sorts.
You gotta get used to it, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Hawaii sports history on this wall in a sense. You know, a lot of all these little things, I mean, you know, that happened that he created or he did through his, you know, his careers.
He's speaking about his uncle, Mackay Yanagisawa, a local sports and entertainment promoter known as the Shogun of Hawaii sports.
Yeah, looking at the wall, you know, I mean, there's the 1980 Pro Bowl, you know, the football. And, you know, you got all these things from, you know, Sparky Matsunaga, and, I mean, you got Cayetano signing him in for the Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, it's pretty interesting to see, you know, what he did, you know. He passed away almost 20 years ago, but, you know, I mean, growing up, hearing the stories, you know, seeing the names or hearing the names that he knew, you know, it's pretty interesting, you know, I mean, he knew.
Those names included some of the biggest in the sports world, from Lou Holtz and Joe Montana to countless others that he brought here to the islands as the creator and co-founder of the Pineapple turned Aloha Bowl, and then the Hula Bowl.
Coming out shortly, also Alabama, we have just a beautiful day here in Honolulu, Hawaii.
When I was younger, I didn't know as much, but, you know, when I was high school or intermediate, I kind of started, you're like, oh wow, who's, you know, and then you hear the stories from him, of course, you know.
And now, decades later, that wow factor is still there. Learning that Uncle Mackay not only ran Aloha Stadium, but was the guy that started and then saved the Hula Bowl on several occasions.
I didn't even know he started it until, you know, later, but yeah, that was kind of like, wow. He actually was the kind of the mastermind behind that, and I mean, he's bringing in the college players, the college, you know, coaches, and, you know, making that game happen for, you know, years, right?
One man who does remember those early years very well is Lenny Klompus. He reached out to Mackay the old-fashioned way, expressing an interest in helping to kickstart that game here in the islands.
In 1977, I saw a note in the USA Today, and it said, quote, "A man in Honolulu wants to start a bowl game." Had one line after that. And I said, we were running a syndication company, television and radio. I said, this could be something that would be very good for us. Why don't we give it a try?
So we wrote a letter the old-fashioned way, put it in an envelope with a stamp on it, and then waited.
Who knew? And Mackay, being the gracious person that he was, responded, almost immediately receiving it, which I think was 2 weeks, and invited me over to Hawaii, and our bond began then.
That bond and friendship led to multiple bowl games, and more importantly, an incredible friendship between the two.
When you had the idea about putting on another bowl game when there was already 15 bowl games in the country, and let's not go there, how many there are today, Mackay had to go through so many steps to get that done. And he was ahead of his time because he knew it could be done, but he knew he had to have a sponsor, and more importantly, Howard, he needed NCAA certification, which is where our company came in.
But it was Mackay who laid it all on the line to make it happen, literally, mortgaging the family's home on 3 separate occasions to make sure the game remained alive.
I mean, what my auntie always said, at heart, he was always a gambler. So she said one thing with him is he'll never lose more than he could afford to lose.
Knowing what he knows now as an adult, Colin says his appreciation for his uncle and everything that he accomplished is beyond impressive.
They said he would always help with the games, but for all the people that would help him, every year he would take that whole crew up to Vegas, all expenses paid trip. You know, that's just how he was, you know. Just to think, yeah, it's still a active, viable game, right? I mean, granted, it's not as prestigious as it was, but still around, right?
He wanted to make sure that the people of Hawaii could experience what people on the mainland saw, whether he brought over the New York Yankees, whether he had these dreams. I want Notre Dame to play here. And we did that in 1980.
Extra fullback. Allen Pinkett, first down.
His whole thought, his whole drive was to give the people of Hawaii this great gift.